Most of us think compulsively all the time. That is to say, we talk to ourselves. If I talk all the time, I don't hear what anyone else has to say. If I think all the time, that is to say, if I talk to myself all the time, I don't have anything to think about except thoughts. And therefore, I'm living entirely in the world of symbols. Therefore, if you meditate for an ulterior motive, that is to say, to improve your mind, to improve your character, to be more efficient in life, you've got your eye on the future and you are not meditating. Well, meditation, when correctly done, has nothing to do with all that. It's a kind of digging the present. It's a kind of grooving with the eternal now. The place where it's at is simply here and now. If you simply close your eyes and allow yourself to hear all the sounds that are going on around you, just listen to the general hum and buzz of the world as if you were listening to music. Don't try to identify the sounds you're hearing. Don't put names on them. Simply allow them to play with your eardrums. It's all just sound. And if I am talking to you right now when you're doing this, don't try to make any sense out of what I'm saying, because your brain will take care of that automatically. You don't have to try to understand anything. As you hear sounds coming up in your head, thoughts, you simply listen to them as part of the general noise going on, just as you would be listening to the sound of my voice, or just as you would be listening to cars going by, or to birds chattering outside the window. So look at your own thoughts as just noises. And soon you will find that the so-called outside world and the so-called inside world come together. They are a happening. Your thoughts are a happening, just like the sounds going on outside. And everything is simply a happening, and all you're doing is watching it. It's all just sound. The place where it's at is simply here and now.
Started very quickly after that. I think it forced the shooter to go maybe quicker. You know, you're supposed to be a very good shot.
Yeah.
My sons, Don and Eric, they can't believe what happened, but they said from 130 yards, a bad shot would hit that target almost every time. They said it's like in golf, sinking a 2-foot putt.
Yeah, it's not a tough shot.
It's not a long shot. The Secret Service person had the long shot. He had triple the distance actually. So it was a terrible thing. Look.
Okay, thank you, Real Crypto Scalper. So I think you could hear you guys should be able to hear Elon and Trump.
I went down based on, I think they're screaming.
So I got that on, I got the trade in this one. There's many other trades in right now, but so that's that. And
guns go off, and it does happen in stadiums at a soccer match or some kind of a match, everybody flees. They call it a stampede, like cattle. But everybody, and a lot of people get killed with those stampedes. We had more people than you'd have at, some of these matches or these games, and nobody left. You had a small group behind us in the grandstand, and that was full.
Great, yeah. I'll keep the commentary kind of at a minimum. I'm trying to listen to what,
They saw that I was hurt. They saw a lot of blood, and they saw that I went down. and it's almost like they wanted to be with me. Well, out front, you had thousands, tens of thousands of people. As far as the eye could see, you had people in Butler, as far as the eye could see. And
Does look like we're
and a
going
lot
to
of
continue
press.
forward here, I think.
You know, many
Most, in
cameras
all
on
likelihood.
watching this.
Funding rate is
It
negative on
makes
ETH at
it
the
so
moment,
different
at least on
because normally
FAIRDESK.
Things happen that aren't good, but you never have a picture of it. You have all these cameras shooting it. So, you know, sort of amazing. But one of the interesting things was that you didn't have anybody flee. You didn't have anybody stampede.
Sure.
Nobody. And there were some people behind me, they stood up and they're looking like...
Trigger waves right here on Bitcoin. In all likelihood, we should be able to continue forward.
I want to meet some of those people because it's so different from...
As long as we could hold, you know, where we are now, I do like this setup. Pretty good risk reward ratio. Good shot here, I think, at least.
And these guys...
If you guys want more info on the trades, link in the description below for the Discord. As long as we hold, you know, we want to hold 59, and I think we will.
They moved so fast, and let me tell you, that took tremendous courage. Now, there was a lack of coordination.
Daily does look good in ETH, yeah, absolutely.
That building should have been covered.
Money flow, especially here. Solana as well. A lot of stuff looks pretty good right now, guys.
One spot for a sniper. It's like if you were to pick like what is the favorite, what if you. So if the goal is to assassinate, what's your favorite spot? That building.
You're right.
That building would be number one.
That would have been the spot.
It's like you can ask for a better location. It's like
no, that would have been the spot. You know what people think is when the local police.
Well, I would ask Kelly, what is nonsense about the here where what he's talking about right now, the assassination attempt?
And then when he got his head just peeking above, this guy standing there with
What's factually inaccurate about what he's saying right now?
When he fell down, again, hurt his ankle very badly, but he was making the calls. But what happened is the firing took place very soon. So what they think is that this guy ran to his site, which he had all planned out with the gun. He ran to the site and he started shooting fast, and maybe that's why he sort of missed. I mean, you know, he got me, but it could have been.
No, I mean, he almost got his head blown off. I think there's one excuse for attention-seeking behavior. It's when talking about this, but yeah.
It was a very near thing.
It was a miracle. If I hadn't turned my head, I would not be talking to you right now. As much as I like you,
exactly,
I would not. I would not be talking.
Maybe talking to you from another realm, perhaps.
Yeah, that's right. We'd be talking from a different place. But
Peppy looking decent.
It was it was a very terrible experience. The Butler Hospital, they did such a great job. The doctors were so good.
I kind of think Peppy's over, but
there was a mistake.
he probably could pull off this.
If somebody knew, because people were hearing, you know, there was a bad feeling that there was somebody was around. You know that story now. It's been And if somebody could have said, because
this I like, crypto.com.
Like lightning storm or something.
I mean, that's just on spot. That's a big 10% jump up or something.
But we did a lot, and oftentimes they'll say, "Sir, could you wait 10 minutes, please? Sir, could you wait 20 minutes? There's a storm."
I mean, you could try it 3-to-1 easily here.
And this
some good opportunities in this market, I think.
But it didn't get coordinated. It didn't get coordinated.
Well, it was I think your actions in the heat of fire, and like. What I found admirable there was that you can't fake bravery under such circumstances. The courage is instinctual or it is not. It's not a rehearsed action. And so I just want to say that I think a lot of people admire your courage under fire there. And so
thank you very much. I appreciate it. I didn't think of it. I just wanted to get up, and I wanted to stand up. I wanted to let people know. I felt I was good when they were. On top of me, covering me, actually, very much covering me, and very bravely. But I wanted to get up. I said, I want to get up. And they wanted, they have everything there. They wanted stretcher. I didn't like the stretcher. And I knew I was hit in the ear, but I knew I wasn't hit anywhere else. They felt I was hit someplace else because it was such a lot of blood. And they were sure that I was hit someplace else. And they were saying, sir, you were hit.
What's up, Godzilla?
I said, nope, I was hit in the ear. I want to get up. Let me get up. And so
I think we should at least get back up to 71 cents and 8 coin, but we'll see.
I mean, this was so.
Oh yeah, I do swing trades. Yeah,
and you could see
I do everything.
They didn't know what to think, and I wanted to let them know I was okay. It was very important for me to let them know that. and they went wild. You've seen the after. They didn't go wild when
Definitely
I got
making a
up,
comeback here in a lot of these. I do like how this market looks
You
overall.
couldn't tell when I stood up.
Nice pull div here.
Before the hand, before the
Now this came
because
down
there, they didn't know if I was
that
alive.
much,
Nobody
but
did.
yeah,
And,
potentially a double here or something.
When I put the fist up, they were just relieved and happy and thrilled, and the place went crazy. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It was a terrible thing, but it was
incredibly
nice.
moving. Yeah. Well, and I mean, speaking of the sort of slide that got you to turn that saved your life really was the illegal immigration slide. Maybe this
That's right.
maybe this is worth talking about that.
It was
50K, you talking about?
The slide saved
You're
your
right.
life.
No,
basically.
the illegal
Okay,
immigration
maybe we
saved
will
my
drop
life.
to 50K. I don't think so though.
It had to be
But we'll
at
see.
the
Anything could
exact
happen.
angle.
I mean, that's a great one. saved by illegal immigration.
You know, the incredible
Upset.
thing, though, when you talk about the odds, you had to be exactly at that angle.
I mean, this is this
But
trigger.
The incredible thing is that the chart, I used it less
I
than
mean,
20%
maybe
of the time.
come down to
It was
56,
just
but I
at the
think
moment.
Yeah.
you
It's
got a
always
good
on my
shot of
left,
holding
on
this
my
area
right,
here.
And it's always at the end of the speech. So
Yeah.
here we have it. It's on the right, not the left. It's at the beginning, not the end. And even the people that put it up, they were unprepared, and they did a great job. They got it up immediately, fortunately. But I looked to the right, and the bullet came whizzing by, hitting my ear. So it was amazing. But when you think of the odds of that, and you know that normally you wouldn't use it. Normally I wouldn't have the thing, and then it would have been a very different story. It's very much. I say an act of God. It's a miracle that it happened, and I'm honored by it. I'm honored.
True
by
waves.
it.
Tesla looking decent.
Well, what were you about to say about illegal immigration before you were rudely interrupted?
Well, I was going to say how good the numbers were. By the way, we're going back to Butler, and we're going to go back in October. We're all set up, and
Decent
the
spot
people
right
are
here.
fantastic in Butler. It's a great area. These are incredible people. Like the three that, in the case of Corey killed, and the other two, the families I got to know them a little bit, and the families are great. But we're going back to Butler, and I think I'll probably start by saying, as I was saying, prior to being so horribly interrupted.
Yeah.
But
so rudely
Look
interrupted.
at look at
by
CRV.
attempt.
Tesla
Well,
could
no,
jump
but the
here a little
chart-
bit.
Some people have no manners.
Elon, the chart was just a chart that in my last week we had the best illegal immigration numbers, meaning stopping. It
Full
was
div
at the
right there
lowest
on the
in
weekly.
chart.
I mean, this is in no man's land, but
Yeah, yeah.
still.
That was the lowest
Yeah.
point ever recorded. It was a really, I mean,
Yeah,
I was
this
very
is-
proud of those
yeah, I
numbers.
don't
And
know
then you
if-
see what happened.
I don't know if I'd mess with this, but on the
Kamala
4
and
hour,
Joe,
probably will
you
keep
see
going a
what
bit,
happened.
but
They
anything
just
could
let
happen.
it go. I had
Big area.
remain in Mexico policies. I had all these different policies that was so good. Guys like Tom Holman and Brandon Judd from Border Patrol. These are all people that they've been on television. They says the best numbers we've ever had. We had so many different checks, catch and release.
I feel
in
like the big
Mexico,
place
not the
here is
United-
gonna be
we had catch and
3,000.
release in the United States. We had it in Mexico. We had so.
I mean,
many
some of the
things.
moves
We
already
had
happened, but
things where if people,
I don't
many
know.
people
I feel like
come
you got a
in
good
there,
shot
they have
here. Something like
contagious
that.
diseases. We had everything passed. If you have a contagious disease, I'm sorry, but we cannot allow you into the country. So we were setting literally records, and all I was doing is showing that, and I use it sometimes,
Sure.
and in this case, I'm glad I used it. I can tell you that, but there were fantastic numbers. But I'm going to sleep with that chart always. I'll be sleeping with that chart. That chart was very important for a lot of reasons.
Well, I mean, would it be accurate to say that you're supportive of legal immigration, but we also
Trigger waves under Cardano.
on illegal immigration,
And it's always a
and
disappointer,
especially
but
unvetted illegal
Yes.
immigration because you
maybe
and
to 39
that's
cents
not necessarily
again.
saying
I
that
mean,
everyone who's an illegal immigrant is bad. In fact, I think most people who are illegal immigrants are actually good, but you can't tell a difference unless there's
Might be able to pull
solid
this off.
vetting of who comes across the border. Does that accurately
100%.
represent your position?
I say it
Okay.
very simply. They have to come in legally. They have to be checked.
Yeah.
Because look, Kamala was the border czar. Now she's denying it. Everything that I do,
This looks
she's
decent.
saying she was strong on the border. We're going to be strong. Well,
I mean, very low risk, high reward if you're trying to get back up to these levels. That's been a disappointer as of late, but ooh, that's a good risk reward ratio.
And all of a sudden she's making a speech and there will be no tax.
Maybe like a lower place we could find that's a little bit.
They had just the opposite.
Yeah,
They had
you could go here maybe.
tips, but they hired
Or something like that, I may try.
IRS agents, and many of them were assigned to go get
Go where price sticks
and
to.
caddies and all of this on tips. They have a policy. They had a policy that they were really going to go after you, and were really harassing people horribly. And then all of a sudden, for politics, she says
They should just ban tips. I'm sick of tips.
which I think is terrible, and I think it's also hitting them very hard.
Tip on a tip, a tip.
Now they're also
Yeah.
saying they did a good job in the border. We had the worst numbers in the history of the world, not of our country. There's never been a
Why don't we
country
just
in
pay
history
people? I don't know. I probably sound like a liberal saying this, but why don't we just pay people a normal wage? We should stop this tip bullshit.
You hear 12 million, 13. I believe it's over 20 million people came into our country, many coming from jails, from prisons, from mental institutions, or a bigger version of that is insane asylums, and many are terrorists. And I'll tell you what, they're coming not just from South America, they're coming from Africa, they're coming from all over the world. They're coming from Asia, they're coming from the Middle East, they're coming from countries
Point
that
and
are,
wordy. I mean, I don't know. I would think this would follow whatever kind of the NFTs do as a whole.
October 7th.
I mean, I know
They're
it's not
coming
none of
from
it
all over the
ordinals,
world.
but
And-
same
and,
shit.
You know, you look at, it's so sad, October 7th, because it should have never happened.
Yeah.
It's so sad
Sure.
when you look at Ukraine. It should have never happened. We have a defective government. These are defective people, and they're not people that should be running it. But where you see it the best is the border, because you have millions of people
That's a
coming
nice
in
comeback
a month,
there.
and then she gets up and she tries to pretend like she's going to do something. She had 3.5 years. And by the way, they have another 5 months that they can do something, but they won't do anything. It's all talk.
This drop
She's
looks like
incompetent,
nothing when you
he's
look at Apple.
incompetent. And frankly, I think that she's more incompetent than he is. And that's saying something, because he's not too good.
Yeah, no, I think it is essential to have a secure border. I mean, you're really not a country unless you have a secure border, and
secure elections, too.
you know, yeah, absolutely secure elections, and so it's just essential to have a real border, or we can't function as a country, and our services, you know, our central services are being overwhelmed in a lot of cities.
Gold has been on the minds of a lot of people as of late.
Earlier, I think having a legal immigration process that
Looking
is
decent.
smooth and efficient and done well.
The thing with gold I wanted to look at was, and this is probably not your most bullish chart for
I
Bitcoin,
mean, like one way to think of it is
making higher highs against Bitcoin since 21.
You know, who do you
That
want
was
to be
even a
American?
damn higher high.
And I think
No,
we wanna
actually, it
just
wasn't.
Say,
Okay.
okay, we want to let in people who are gonna,
I mean,
you know, be great contributors
hope it's
to
like that, and then
our society and to our economy, and you know, and who do you want on the team? And it's.
I wonder if we could get something
it's
of
not to say
this
that-
nature, work
in
up,
my
and
opinion,
then
actually, I'd say like probably most of the illegal immigrants actually
because that looked good, and then
are actually good, hardworking people. That's my opinion. But some are not, and you just have this sort of adverse selection process where, you know, if somebody's, you know,
I feel like Elon would be such a good president.
you know, has a career in theft or robbery. I don't understand what's taken them so long to get here, because we're in such a target-rich environment. I mean,
Silver
you know,
too
Why
there.
aren't more people who have a career in you know, bad things coming here sooner? Because it's, I mean, it's.
Well, if it's
a piece
like
of
this
cake
cycle,
to go
October
rob,
is really
you
where.
know, houses in,
I guess it would be a
LA or New
time.
York,
Yeah, where was
compared
it?
to other
Where?
parts of the world.
Oh,
And,
that's wild. Okay,
and-
okay.
and a lot of
So
places
here's where we
America,
are in the 4-year cycle.
If you try to stop the person,
And then
who's
if we look
robbing you,
at,
you'll be arrested.
wow.
It's insane.
So that whole,
What's happening with
so
crime.
look,
And our police are so good, but they're
Here,
not allowed to do this.
here,
But
here.
I have to tell you, Elon,
They're
I hate
not.
to say it because it's such a downer to say it.
So-
I hate it, but you have a lot of people that just shouldn't be. I think it's a much bigger number than you think. They're allowing,
I think you're
again,
right.
they're
Yeah.
allowing
Something like
people
this,
from
maybe.
themselves. And if you were running one of these countries,
And you could probably, if we did something of this nature, oh wait, I wanna.
As an example, Venezuela, their crime is down 72%. They're taking their drug dealers. They're taking, frankly, their prisoners. They're emptying out their prisons.
How do we?
They're taking their criminals,
We
their
gotta
murderers,
mess with this
their
a little bit.
rapists, and they're delivering them into.
But that's what Castro did.
Yeah, well, he did on a much smaller scale.
Yeah.
You know, it was a much smaller
Yeah.
scale. But this is a massive scale because this is being done
Maybe
worldwide. But here's what's happening: crime all over
90%,
the world
maybe.
is down. And wait till you see the numbers.
I mean,
that
this
we
was
have.
this
You
one
know,
right here was
this is
nuts.
migrant
That was
crime. This
yeah.
is crime that's-
I mean, it's
that's-
possible.
And I saw it today
It was
in
from
New
the
York, where
top to
somebody
the
was knifed with a,
100%. Jesus.
raped the girlfriend of a man
And
that
then
stood there watching in New York.
92.
And,
Oh, let's take a look at the
pulling out
opposite
the
of this,
knives, and
actually.
Bad things happen today, but this is happening every day. These are rough people. These are people that are in jail for murder and all sorts of things, and they're releasing them into
Yeah,
our
600.
country, and they're telling them, if you come back, we're going to kill you. We're going to give you the death penalty or kill you. So they don't want to come back. But these are rough people.
Yeah.
These are criminals that make our
Okay,
criminals
yeah.
look like nice people, and it's horrible what they're doing. And she's
But-
in charge of it because now she's trying to say she had nothing to do
Yeah,
with it.
here
And she's such a liar because
probably at
she was
least could
called
get-
the border czar the first day, and it was on the headlines of every newspaper.
I mean, this
She was the
was
border czar.
this was
And she
about
never even went there. She
700%.
went to one location which had nothing to do with where the problem is.
Yeah, you
know,
could
she
get
went
half
in
of
and
that,
out,
maybe.
I guess because she was getting
I don't know.
pressure,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
had nothing to do with the problem
Yeah.
is. But she was the border czar, and the people
Yeah, yeah.
can't allow them to get away with their disinformation
Gold would be the
campaign. Now
same. I
she's
mean,
trying
we're
to say
let's just
that,
look at where we are in terms of the
she
Fourier
wasn't,
cycle.
she wasn't really involved. And
Right around
the
there.
whole thing is horrible. She was totally in charge. She could have shut the border
And
down.
then right
without
here,
him. He didn't
obviously,
know what he
so-
was doing anyway, so he wouldn't have even known
Yeah.
what happened. You could shut the border down. He
Yeah.
wouldn't even know the difference. But
Mm.
the fact is that she was border czar. But if you don't have to call her
Yes.
that. The fact is, you could just call her. She was in charge of the border, and the border was the worst
Right.
ever.
It's simply not working.
No, it's
I mean,
horrible.
Whether it's by
You could probably get this compared to gold, I would think. I mean, unless you're really doomsday. I mean, I don't know though. Depends. I mean, if you're really yeah, I think you get up to here. I mean, it really may be only this part, but
at times, and sometimes you gotta sort of wonder, like, is it real or not? So because you see things, you're like, is it real? So I went to the border at Eagle Pass, and I saw for myself in Texas, and I was like, okay, it's real. I'm like seeing this in real time. I actually posted the video like,
How-
live. I just flew there one day and just to see, hey, is this made up or real? And I'm just seeing people stream across the border, and I have to say, at least the people I saw did not look friendly.
These are
people
people-
can look at my video and say, hey,
Yeah.
these people look friendly. I don't look super friendly, so
These are people that Elon would not be the same man if he had to walk across the street and look these people in the eye. These are rough people. These are really rough people coming across. And I know rough people. And these are people that we don't want in our country. And, the caravans are coming in, and they're putting...
how much
and
did we
who's
outperform the
doing this?
Nasdaq
heads
here?
of the countries.
25x.
And you would be doing
Yeah.
it, and so would I. And everyone would say,
450.
oh, what a terrible thing to say. The fact is, it's brilliant for them because they're taking all of their bad people, really bad people. And I hate to say this, the reason the numbers are much bigger than you would think is they're also taking their non-productive people. Now, these aren't people that will kill you. We have enough of them. But
I
these
mean,
are people that
I
are
just want to see something here.
They are just not productive. I mean, for
Like-
whatever reason. They're not
Yeah, yeah.
workers, or they don't want to work, or whatever. And these countries
Right
are
there.
getting
Oh, yeah,
non-productive
okay.
people in the caravans in many
Let's actually
cases.
look. So that was the blue
And
one.
they're also getting rid of their murderers and their drug dealers and the people that are really
And this
brutal
one was above
people.
that. Okay,
And
so
they're
severely
coming into our
damn
country
it.
at levels that have never been seen
Mm.
before. And I saw an ad just before I got on the ad. I'm walking over here, and I saw an ad by Kamala
Yeah.
saying
I mean, it
how she
depends.
is
Pick your
going
poison.
to
I mean,
provide border security. Where has she been for 3.5
I would
years?
still be bullish on Bitcoin that we could outperform the
20 years
triple Q
before
though.
this. It's a terrible.
Yeah,
But triple Q isn't a bad bet either.
I think this is a fundamental existential issue for the United States. And if we have another 4 more years,
Gold, I think, will continue to generally do well, but
and it's
you
gonna
know,
be even worse with another 4
you need a
years,
recession
it's
for
gonna be
that
even worse
really
than-
to
than for
outperform
the
a lot of
past,
shit.
3.5
And even then, we don't know if it will
I'm not
outperform
sure we're gonna
Bitcoin
come-
because
You
in a
don't know
recession,
exactly
they're
what
probably going to print money.
Elon, if they get in you will have 50 to 60 million people from all over
I think
the
it will
world,
do well, though.
not South America only. You know, we think of South America, we think of Honduras and El Salvador, Guatemala, and Mexico, you know, the four. But it's not that. It's everywhere. They're coming in from everywhere. And I had to stay in Mexico.
Yeah, I think this is a super important
That's
point.
huge.
Like, people,
Yeah, big area there.
Like, well, basically, when I went down there, I was like, well, where are people from? It's like almost no one was from Mexico.
No,
to be clear.
Mexico less.
It's just
less
the
than others.
border. It's just the border with Mexico, but the people coming in, it's Earth, the rest of Earth, and America is only, you know, about 4 or 5% of the population of Earth. It would only take a few percent of the rest of Earth to overwhelm everything in the
We're
US.
already overwhelmed, Elon. We're overwhelmed. You had to see the news tonight about New York, and I love that place, and what they're doing to it is horrible, what they're doing to it. And all the courts do is they try and focus on Trump. Okay, let's focus on Trump, who did nothing wrong. I complain about a rigged election. Elon, what's happened is unbelievable. You have from Africa, from the Congo they're coming, from the Congo. And 22 people came in from the Congo recently, and they're murderers. And they drop them, they take them out of jails, which is very expensive, you know, to maintain the jails, although they don't do too much maintaining, I can tell you. But they take them out of jails, prisons, they take them out, and they bring them to the United States. They deposit them in the United States and say, don't ever come back or you're going to be executed. And they don't want to come back. But they won't come back.
Sure.
But they're coming from Africa. They're coming from Asia.
Is this verified? Like, I feel like, is this true? That they're, like, taking people from prisons and bringing them to America? I want to know, is that true?
It's just everywhere on Earth.
I mean, it seems, like,
It's just not
hard to
possible.
believe, but, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it actually is.
Or you know, even a few percent of the rest of Earth. It's just not possible. So,
Well, Elon, we're going to have, just to finish this up, we're going to have the largest deportation in history of this country, and we have no choice. Otherwise, we're going to have a country, what they've done to our country. Think of it, with you know, in Venezuela and in some of these other countries, crime is down 50, 60, 70, 80%. And you would be the same. You would have.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Venezuela has not gotten rid of all of them. They've gotten rid of about 70% of their really bad people. Their jails are about 50% put into the United States. Same with other countries.
Sure.
Some are at 30%, some are at 50%. They're all different. But the bottom line is they're all going to be at 100%. Why wouldn't you put 100% of it? And they're doing it right now.
I think ETH could continue to
while
outperform
this
Bitcoin for a little bit more
third-rate
here.
Phony candidate. Don't forget, I beat.
Short-term time frames are a little questionable.
He failed in the debate miserably, and you know, some people said, "Oh, gee, it's too bad. It's too bad he did so badly," or "I did well in the debate." You know, the first night they said, "Wow." One of the people at CNN said that was the greatest debate performance I've ever witnessed. And then 2 days later, they didn't talk about that. They just said he was bad. But that's okay. That's the way I get treated, and I don't mind that at all. What I can tell you is this. We cannot have a Democrat. We cannot have her. She's incompetent. She's as bad as Biden in a different...
Yeah.
Look, she hasn't done an interview since this whole scam started. And say what you want. This was a coup. This was a coup of a president of the United States. He didn't want to leave, and they said we can
This
do it
one's
the
tough
nice
on the
way,
Dixie.
or we
Hard
can
to
do it
read.
the
I
hard
don't
way.
know.
Yeah, I mean, they're just talking about.
I would think more bearish
Yeah.
downward as
No,
markets
what they
continue
did
to
with this
recover.
guy,
So,
and I'm no
yeah.
fan of his, and he was a horrible president, the worst president in history. And one of the reasons he was so bad, first of all,
Oh, that's
the
shot back
Israeli
up.
attack would have never happened. Russia would never have attacked Ukraine, and we'd have no.
I do have a course.
And we wouldn't have had
I
the
think there's a
Afghanistan
discount
crisis,
code
if you
for
think of
it
it.
down
We
below.
wouldn't have had Afghanistan.
Try
But
Bear
we
Market
would.
20 as a
Yeah.
discount code. Should be
You take a
20%
few of
off.
those events away, and we have a different world.
It's a good
We would
course.
also have
No,
no-
you're-
A lot of people have liked it.
Inflation was caused by oil.
Yeah. No.
Party
you bring up
affiliation.
an excellent point here, which is that.
I would lean a little bit more to the right, probably.
Thinking about invading.
We'll see, though.
Things. When they're thinking about that, they're
Yeah,
thinking
lean
about
just a little
what's
bit
the
more to the
American
right.
president gonna do, and do they fear the American president, or is it someone they do not respect and do not fear? And I think they do.
About 10 videos or so. 10 to 20 minute videos, 10 minutes. I mean, you could go through it relatively quickly, but I think you would want to pause it a lot of times to really absorb the info.
President Trump is like, don't mess with him. I mean, that's like Whereas I think people are
Trying
not
to think
gonna be,
here.
they obviously have not been at all intimidated by Biden, and they certainly will not be intimidated by Kamala. And you have to really think about it in the context of global security. That if the American president is someone that, like, evil dictators are scared of, that makes a huge difference to the security of the world.
So I had a good relationship with Putin, despite the Russia hoax that lasted for over 2 years.
I like the trigger waves here on AVAX.
Created by Hillary Clinton and Adam Schiff, some just bad people, just sick people, frankly. I mean, Schiff is a sick person. He's going to end up probably being a senator. It's hard to believe. The whole thing is hard to believe. But, they put our country in danger with that stuff, too. They actually, when they make up stories and you have to fight your way out of it
They're
for a
pre-recorded
long time.
videos. Yeah, it's an internet
I know
course. Yeah.
Putin very well. I got along with him very well. He respected me, and it's just one of those things. And we would talk a lot about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye. But I said, don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. I shut down Nord Stream 2. That was the big oil pipeline, the biggest, I think.
I almost feel like we're really getting to the point where everything starts to fight back a bit. I could be wrong though.
And then they say, I loved Russia. I was
Even
a friend
freaking
of Putin, and I loved
Zcash.
Russia.
My God.
He actually
What a
said to
shot
me
up
one time,
there.
he said, if you're my friend, I'd hate to see you as an enemy. I shut down his pipeline.
100%,
The biggest
man.
pipeline, they were looking at that to fund, and this pathetic president gets in there, and the first thing he did, one of the early things he did, is he shut down Keystone XL pipeline, which is our pipeline that would have employed 48,000 people, pipeline workers. Shuts it down. That was, a massive.
Brought oil up.
That Obama refused to allow.
Yeah.
I allowed it in my first week because it was jobs and it moved oil. And by
Yeah,
the
these
way,
are
in a
coming. I feel like
more
inflation in
environmentally
terms of
friendly
these
way.
charts
It's
isn't.
not a
Jeez.
truck that catches on fire.
Yeah, you're only getting a 25 basis point cut, unfortunately. I think anyway.
XL pipeline, the Keystone XL pipeline.
Yeah.
He shuts that down, and he
I think
approves
inflation
the
is
Russian
over.
pipeline.
Yeah, it doesn't make
Right?
any sense.
The Oracle.
It's inconsistent.
Appreciate you, man.
Certainly, but
Oracle of
I think
Omaha.
it's worth emphasizing,
I'm not always right,
the-
but I do what I can. Do the best I can. Nobody's always going to be right.
Of whether the United States
Doing well lately, though.
or not intimidating, and how much that matters to global security, because there's some real tough characters out there, and if they don't think the American
That's a damn big
president is
spot, though.
tough,
2,800.
they
I
will do what
think
they
you'll
wanna do.
I know every
bust
one of
through,
them.
though.
It puts
But
a
it
lot-
still is a damn
I know
big
every
place.
one
I
of
think
them.
you'll
I
get
know
through it,
well.
but
I know Putin, I know President Xi, I know Kim Jong-un of North Korea, I know every one of them. And let me tell you, people will say, oh, this is terrible. He said, I'm not saying anything good or bad. They're at the top of their game. They're tough, they're
I
smart,
surprised Paul.
they're
How do you know that?
and they're going to protect their country, whether they love their country. They probably do. It's just a different form of love, but they're going to protect their country. But these are tough people at the top of their game. And when they see a Kamala or when they see Biden, Sleepy Joe, they can't even believe it. They can't believe this happened. All the stuff that you're seeing now, all the horror that you look at Israel, they're all waiting for an attack from Iran. Iran would not be attacking, believe me. When I was there, and I say it with respect because I think we would have been good with Iran. I don't want to do anything bad to Iran, but they knew not to mess around. Iran was broke.
Got to catch up
Because
on
I
sleep
told China,
tonight.
if you buy from Iran oil, it's all about the oil. That's where the money is. But if you buy oil from Iran, you're not going to do any business with the United States.
NVIDIA is interesting. I
And I
mean,
meant it. And they said, we'll pass. They didn't
I
buy
feel like
oil
it
from
could
other
start to lag
countries
behind
like
a little
Russia.
bit, maybe
Wanna buy,
dilly-dally
we're not
around
doing
here. I
business
don't know if
with
it
the
would
United States.
reject,
And
but
they were at a
I
point
feel like
where
it's
they
over
were-
for a
they
minute.
had
But
no
yeah,
money for
Pelosi
Hamas.
about to
They had
dip
no
on
money
this. I
for
mean, who knows?
Hezbollah. They had no money for any of these.
Trigger wave right there. I mean, yeah,
And
you could
it
jump
was
back up.
Amazing. In fact, there were articles when I was leaving, which is hard to believe actually, especially when you look at what's happened to our country. Our country is so bad right now. It's such a different
Price of
place.
Bitcoin
We
sold
were
8 months ago.
respected.
What was my? I
4
don't
years
remember.
ago, we were
What was
so
my
respected
prediction? Price of
to a
Bitcoin sold.
point
8 months.
where when I said
Oh,
don't
what
buy
was-
oil, they didn't buy oil, but they had no money. And
8 months.
Israel
When
would
was
have
8
never
months
come
ago? Was
back.
that? Let's see.
0
Were the 8
chance.
months of
And
January
I said
numbers?
to Vladimir Putin, I said, don't do it. You can't do it, Vladimir. You do it, it's going to be a bad
What were you
day.
shocked about? What was the
And
prediction? I make a lot of. I mean, I'm
and
trying to.
I told him things.
4,800. Yeah, that I called
And he
the
said,
other.
"No way.
Yeah, that was a big
I said,
area. That was the
"Way."
inception of the.
And you know, it's the last time we ever had the
But
he would never have done
was I calling for that
well
8
with
month?
him.
Let me look at my
Along
Bitcoin
with-
chart. I'm
along
just
with
trying to
them.
think here, like
You
what
know,
I
getting
was. Was I
along
calling
well
for
with
that
them
8
is a
months
good
ago?
thing, not a bad thing. I got along
Let's
well with
see
Kim
here.
Jong-un. When I met with President Obama just before
January,
everybody
yeah,
else started
and
the
then-
ritual, and I sat down with him and we talked. It was supposed to be for a very
What's up,
short
Eric?
period of time. It turned out to be a long period of time. I said, "What's the biggest problem?" He said, "North Korea."
Around
That
March.
problem worked out very quickly.
Yeah, I was calling
After
for 40.
the
Yeah.
beginning with
Yeah.
Rocket Man and
But that's the inception of the ETF. That's a big area. That's a historic, huge area too. That you don't have to be a genius to figure out that 48K is a big area.
He has a red
And
button.
it's also the same
I have a red
30%
button right
drop
there.
down that
My
I've been talking
red
about.
button is much bigger, and my red button works.
I've been doing this a
And then I
while,
called him Little
but I
Rocket
mean,
Man of Little Rocket Man. Anyway,
Yeah.
here's the bottom line. All of a sudden, I got a call from him, and they said they want to meet. They want to meet me, and we met.
Yeah.
As you remember, we met in Singapore. We met also in Vietnam, and I got along with him great. We were
Yeah.
in no danger.
It-
But
yeah.
President Obama,
It's because
President
they
Obama
were-
thought
they
we were going
respond-
to end up in
yeah.
a war, a nuclear war with him. And let me tell you, he's
Yeah,
got a
it's
lot
not
of
true.
nuclear stuff
It's-
too.
exactly.
He's got plenty of nuclear.
It's-
He can do plenty of damage.
It's,
So
yes, I mean, it's because, you know, I mean, people like Kim Jong Un, they respond to strength, not weakness.
well,
And-
he
and
and I got
if
he
you
and I
project
had a good
strength,
relationship.
they, you know, you're,
Remember,
Yeah.
I met him and we.
Oh,
walked
did it
onto his
freeze?
land.
Damn
Nobody
it.
ever walked onto his land before. I walked on. I wouldn't say.
Yeah,
Let's bring
that
up
was cool.
Secret Service again. I wouldn't say they were thrilled when I did that. I walked
Okay.
onto his land.
yeah, it gets
And,
weird.
It was
Thanks.
an amazing period, but we were not in danger with him because of me. You know, I always
Yeah.
say that we have enemies on the outside and we have enemies on the inside. We have some really bad people in our government and people that are controlling.
What did they
people.
expect? What were
I
they
mean, I can
saying
mention names, but
would
I
happen
really don't
differently?
want to give them the credit. But we have some really bad, and I say they're more dangerous than Russia and China. If you have a smart president, a president that gets it, we are not in danger from those countries because they need us and they need our help. I mean, we forced Obama. If you think about it, Obama and
Full bull.
Biden and
Well,
Bush to a
I
certain
mean,
extent,
nothing goes straight into the right. The whole.
Russia and
It's not
China
really how it works.
together. And
Nothing
if
ever.
you're-
Even
the
throughout
first
this
thing you
wasn't.
learn
You
is
did have a
cannot
pullback
let
here. I
Russia
mean,
and China align. But then they also
nothing's
got,
full
if you
out
take a
bull
look,
forever.
Iran, and they have North Korea. That's, you know, they call it the axis
80K.
of evil.
Yeah, I mean
In
that's.
the old days,
Yeah.
you had the axis of evil. Here we have a
I'm just
modern-day
following the
axis
Fourier
of evil.
cycle here.
These are powerful countries, very heavy nuclear, which is the biggest threat. You know, the biggest threat is not
Bitcoin
global
is 2
warming,
steps
but
forward,
it's
1
gonna
step back.
rise one-eighth of
Let's
an
see,
inch over the
1,
next 400
2 steps
years.
forward,
The big, and
1
you'll
step
have
back.
more- you'll have more oceanfront property.
Now let's look at those 2
The
steps
biggest
forward
threat
again.
Is not that. The biggest threat is nuclear warming, because we have 5.
There's your
countries in our
150K.
country
Again,
with
that would be
nuclear power.
probably way
And
too
we
freaking.
have to not allow
I
anything
mean,
to happen with stupid
it's
people
probably
like
going to
Biden.
end up somewhere
You know,
like this.
Biden,
End of.
did something
if I had
with
to
Russia.
guess.
There was no chance.
It could
of them
be
ever going
like
into
December or
war. When I
January. It
left,
could be like that.
after
I mean,
left,
here's
they
like
started
low end,
forming
116.
big armies on their on
Um,
the border with
That'd be
Ukraine,
88.
right?
That'd be real
And I
low
looked
end.
at that, and I thought he was doing that because Putin's a good negotiator. I thought he was doing that to negotiate. But
It's like
then
those
Biden
big
said
areas that we
such
look
stupid
at, you
things.
know,
For
all
instance,
these damn
he
spider
said
lines.
that, it can be a
It could
NATO
be these
country.
3.
Now, Russia, for as
But I
long
mean,
as there's been NATO, has said, we're never going to agree to that. And we go right up front and say that. And we did things and said things through this president with a low IQ, very low IQ. He had a low IQ 30 years ago, by the way, but now he might not even have a IQ at all. There's nothing on the board that goes that far. But he said things that were so
I have a feeling this
stupid
will be a very long
that-
Twitter Spaces.
That war would have been. That war had zero chance of happening.
Yeah, I mean,
if
there's
I
just,
was there. Zero
the,
chance.
they're not really
Saying
following the 4-year
everything's
cycle if they were saying we would be at
everything's
6 figures by now.
And it's so sad.
4-year cycle would have you
More
at 6
people have been
figures the
killed in
earliest,
Ukraine
early
than
next year.
you don't
The
realize
absolute
how bloody
earliest.
it is and how disaster.
Sure.
Hey, look, just in the 2 armies, you lost 500,000 people. And,
Yeah.
and you
No,
know,
it's-
Ukraine's having a hard time. Ukraine, I don't know if you saw
Yeah.
the article recently. And
Like, even then, like, it really it wouldn't even be, like, the earliest you would see 6 figures based on 4-year cycle would be, like, March, April of next year.
Defeated Germany with us, and they defeated
It probably would be, like, if we look at, because it's looking more like the 2013, it's looking more like this situation here.
Ukraine now
Because look at this right here. Like, this is just straight up with no corrections, really. Like, this is just not healthy. This is more healthy. And then what we're seeing here, more red dots, more healthy relationship. This is what we call a healthy relationship. This is an unhealthy relationship with Bitcoin.
We had a man that actually made it
you know,
prevalent. It was so bad.
when you made your new all-time high, it was around.
The stupid threats coming from.
Oh no, what am I looking at?
That he was using.
It was there.
That's going to cause us a war.
Oh, I don't even have. Oh, Coinbase chart doesn't have jack on it. Hold on.
That can lead to World War III. The Middle East can lead to. We have numerous places that could end up in World War III right now for no reason whatsoever.
It's like April 2017.
I think people.
Well, really February. Where was your? Let's see here.
You know, when looking at the risk of global thermonuclear warfare.
No, yeah, February 2017.
You know, that's.
You made a new all-time high.
People have,
So according to that, it could be February next year that you hit 75K. Now, where are we right now? We're around. I would argue we're around here. So.
A lot of nuclear missiles.
You know, if we were to, this will probably give us a really, this is going to give us a much higher prediction than we want, but, yeah, that's not,
the best Iron Dome in the world.
you know,
and we're going to make it all in the United States, but we're going to have protection.
yeah, I mean, it's not going to,
one maniac to, start something.
you probably could go more like this, maybe.
We have an Iron Dome. Israel has one.
Let's see something here.
Some other places have one that nobody even knows.
94K by April next, maybe. That would
we
kind
have
of
an
make
Iron
sense.
Dome.
That's your new all-time
But,
high in February.
With all of that being said, to me, that's
Maybe.
so important, the most important.
And what could you get from where we are right
With all
now,
that
from
being said,
60K,
The
59?
election's coming up, and the people want to hear about the economy.
Not bad.
And the fact that
Absolutely,
they can't
sure.
buy groceries because they don't have enough money to buy groceries. The inflation has killed.
All coins right now.
50, 60,
I think as long as you have a diversified portfolio, you'll be good.
This stupid administration.
You know, you got to be patient with them. You know, if you have all your money in one or two altcoins, bad idea. If you have a diversified portfolio and you follow a total of 3, I think it'd be good. I mean, that's a good question, though.
Like this where I can discuss something at length.
Got to have
By the
thick
way, you
skin
think
with them,
Biden
I
could do
think.
this interview? Do you think that Kamala could do this interview? They would take a
XRP, I think it'll do well, but,
They don't need
you know,
Elon.
will it
They don't need
beat a lot of
Elon
other altcoins?
screaming out
Probably not.
questions.
We'll see, though.
It's pretty sad.
Total 3, I mean, I don't know. There's people who will tell you it will bleed another freaking 30%, which isn't even that bad, so.
And in her case, with a very
I mean, you could keep coming down. We'll see what happens.
It's pretty
Yes,
sad. But
absolutely.
the big thing
15
now is the economy.
should be enough.
And as much as,
Yeah.
I mean, I view nuclear as the single most important thing, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people.
I have a lot of money in ETH and altcoins, so if that makes you feel any better, and I have a couple NFTs, so
President, you're not going to have that kind of a problem. But
yeah.
the thing.
So I'm betting on some fun.
It's making
You know, I
America
think that we're
is
just
what
getting to the.
Kamala
We're only really
and
seeing the
Biden
tip of the
have
iceberg
allowed
so
to
far.
happen to the economy. It's a disaster with inflation. The inflation.
Well, no, you could look
matter what
look
you
right
make,
here,
the
Donkey Punch.
inflation
See,
is
I'm
eating you alive.
factoring
If
out
you're
to
a worker,
the
or if you're
USDT.
just a middle-income person, you can't afford.
Apecoin, we looked at it. I think it could continue forward, get up to 70 cents. I mean, we'll see what happens. I think it'll eventually do something. Will it come back all the way? I don't know. But I do think gaming and NFT stuff can have a, second rebirth.
Because the checks never bounce when it's written by the government. So
Yeah, if you look here, you got to type in total 3 minus tether in parentheses.
brings in, that increases the money supply, and if the money supply increases faster than the rate of goods and services, that's inflation. So really,
Yeah.
we need to have, we need.
I think Apecoin will come back to
start
$1.
spending.
Hopefully by the
We
end of
need
the
to
year or early next year.
re-examine. I think we need like a government efficiency commission to say like, hey, where are we spending money that's sensible? Where is
The thing too, I wanted to go back to the. Let me just go back to that prediction I was looking at for. So if we were to, if we're right here,
every
and we make our new all-time high, and then you have after that some more. Now, this is going to be. Oh man, I wish I had some spider lines here.
And it keeps
I
growing.
rebuilt our military, largely rebuilt our military.
So this would be a peak in January of 2026. Now,
we had fighters
where would that peak be?
and bombers that were 70 years old. And we did a great job in that. Then we, by the way, we gave 85 billion of it back to Afghanistan, if you can believe it. We gave them 85 billion. They're one of the largest sellers of military equipment in the world. They're selling what we gave them. That was one of the most embarrassing days in the history of our country. But if you
Where
think
was?
about,
Let me just
let's
get
go
up
back
the
to
other.
the economy. We have to bring energy
Yeah.
prices down. Energy started it. The price of gasoline. Now your cars don't require.
We're looking at
it, right?
January
It's
26th.
like
Where would
you're-
that? Where
you
could
have a
that
good-
bring us?
And you do make a great product, I have to say. I have to be honest with you.
Thank
That
you.
doesn't mean everybody should have an electric car, but these are minor details. But you.
Why does
your
it look
product
so?
is
I'm on a
enough.
larger time frame, I guess.
But the
Too big.
gasoline, Elon, is the
just
the
look
cost
here.
of energy. Not only gasoline, it's the cost of heating your house and cooling your house. That
Sure.
has to come down. It's gone up 100%, 150, and 200%.
115.
That has to come down. When that comes down, and we're going to.
I mean, my highest prediction probably 155, 140.
They went
You know,
back to drilling because they went back to the.
it'd probably be
Trump
one
model.
of these.
But if they won the day after
Um,
they get into office, we're gonna. This country will go.
I think
out
it
of
can
business.
double
They're
from
gonna
here.
go to an energy policy.
I mean, if I
It's
really
not
had to guess, maybe a
sustainable.
little
Wind
less than a double,
and
but
different things.
it's hard to say,
You're not
really.
gonna have anything.
Yeah.
What's up, Clay the
And
Great?
I know you're a big fan of the AI.
I have it on.
And I have to say
Yeah.
that AI, and this is shocking to me, but AI requires twice the energy that the country already produces for everything. So you're going to have to build. We're going to have to build a lot of energy if our country will be competitive with China, because that's our primary competitor for this on the AI. You're
Sure.
going to need a lot of
Well, I mean-
electricity. You're going to need tremendous
Yeah.
electricity, like almost double what we produce now for the whole country, if you can believe it.
Sure. Well, just going, back to this, like this basic thing, which that people try to make it sound complicated, but it's not. But inflation is caused by government
Right.
overspending. Would you agree that we need to take a look at government
Yes.
spending and have perhaps a government efficiency commission that just tries to make the spending sensible and so that the country lives within its means, just like a person
The
does?
waste is incredible, and nobody negotiates prices.
I think
you've got a
H&T
lot
can
of
do
people
well,
who
yeah.
use Jets, and you end up with two companies, and they'll probably try. And
Really
merge at
showing
some
some
point.
strength here.
I mean, I went through it, like Air Force. Just a
Maybe
thing
get
like
back up to
Air
$10
Force
or
One.
something.
One of the first documents they asked me.
I mean, it's
sign,
only
General,
down from that
before
top
we signed
about,
this document, what is
40%,
it?
not
Air
terrible.
Force
I mean,
One.
here was
That's the
frickin',
Boeing, which
sure a
is
lot of
basically
people
two
got
planes,
irritated
two
and sold there.
747s. And the price was
Yeah.
$5.7 billion for two planes. Now,
Wow.
now they're highly sophisticated.
That's insane.
They're even nicer than your plane, okay? But much more sophisticated. They're very. I won't say what's on it, but they got a lot of stuff on it. Anyway, but it's 5.7.
That's a crazy
It's
number.
a crazy number, but I said I'm not going to pay 5.7. I'm not
Big
going to do
spot
it.
for
I said,
pounds
who
here.
made the deal? Obama and his people. I said, well, then I know the deal's no good. I'm not going to do it. And over a course of about 4 weeks, by my saying I'm not going to do it, I got the price reduced by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane, other than we had a nicer paint job, if you want to know the truth. But for the exact same plane, I saved one, and I said to Boeing, man, you guys must make a lot of money if you can reduce the price by that. But now what I do hear is that they're going back.
Amazon
to the,
could be, yeah.
Biden administration.
That could be a
and
low
wanting
risk, high
big cost
reward
overruns,
situation here.
because
Let's
they
see.
These dopey suckers in there, and they'll end up getting some of the money back. But I shaved it by 1 point.
I love Amazon's ethics. They're just incredible.
And you can now take
Like if you
that
buy a
and
subscription
multiply
on like
that out
Amazon
times
Prime Video,
thousands
you
of
have to
other
go on the
items.
desktop to cancel it. You can't cancel it from your phone.
And, yeah.
Love it.
Astronomical. I agree with you.
Just incredible.
I mean,
If we get old here, there's not much between.
I mean, I think it would be
You
great to
know,
just have a
175.
commission that takes a look at these things and
I think we got a good
and just-
shot.
and
You know,
ensures that the
something like
taxpayer
that.
money, the taxpayers' hard-earned money is spent in a good way.
Oh, did it get all the way? Yeah, I forgot about H&T. Yeah, I got to look at a older
Well,
older
you're the
chart on
greatest
helium.
runner.
Yeah, I forgot about
I
that.
look at
Yeah.
what you do. You walk into you wanna
Can
do
it get back all
They
up
go
to there?
in right. I won't
Yeah, I
do
think
it.
there's a
They go
possibility.
in, but they go
I
in
don't know.
back and you
I don't
say,
know though,
"Okay,
but I
you're all
think
gone."
if you
You're
can
all
break
gone. So every one
above
of you is gone, and you
a
are the
key,
greatest. You would be very good. Oh, you
you got a
would
good
love
shot
it.
at
But,
27.
if you look at Argentina,
Yeah.
Well, I'd be happy
yeah.
to help
By the way,
out.
congratulations! I
Yeah.
just looked at the number of people that are listening to you and I chat. We'll call it a chat.
Coins are pumped on
But,
purpose. It's kind
congratulations.
of random.
This is very good. I mean, it's great. And you're an interesting character. You know, the
Ton, I was hoping would do something. So far, a little
a
bit
place called Argentina,
disappointing.
And he's
Speaking
the
of
big-
disappointments,
he's great.
let's
And
look
he's a
at
big MAGA
Adam.
fan, you know that he ran on MAGA.
It's been a
And
disappointment and a half
he
lately,
could
but
do
it
an
could
extreme,
pump
too.
back up
He
a little
ran on
bit.
MAGA, and I hear he's doing really a terrific job. It's called Make Argentina Great Again. It worked out perfectly. He came in, he bought a lot of
Javier.
hats, he brought up, but he's doing a big job. He really
Looks
cut.
decent.
And I'm hearing
Yeah.
they're starting to do pretty well. Inflation's getting down. You know, they had like
Yeah,
2,000%. And they had inflation like not
So-
normal inflation. They had the real deal. But we're going to
Yeah.
have that pretty soon. We have.
This
I think
looks
we
like
have
it
the
could
worst
be a,
inflation
you know,
we've
out
had
of
in
like
100
small
years.
caps that
They
could go
stayed
nuts. Who
48
knows?
years.
Maybe this one
I don't
does
believe
something.
it. I think we have the worst. They don't include a lot of the items that should be included. You know.
Yeah. Well, it's just from government.
If that gets anywhere near all-time highs, let's see what that would be.
Effectively.
Yeah,
And
46x,
having,
my
you know,
God.
Just
I don't know if it'll get up that high, but who knows?
You can't even name them all. And what Milei is doing is, you know, he's cutting government spending. He's simplifying things. He's having
Theta, I think, yeah, a lot of these do show,
and
definitely show some.
overnight is experiencing a giant improvement
Right.
in prosperity. But it's also a lesson for the United States, which is that.
Yeah, well, 48 life-changing wealth. You put a lot of freaking money into it, and I don't think it's gonna go up that high. But
in the 30s, 40s,
and 46x, what would you need? I mean, if you put $1,000 to 46 grand, if you put 10,000, yeah, then it could be life-changing wealth.
Venezuela should be incredibly prosperous.
200k after taxes, you'd make.
Reserves
But yeah.
of everything, oil, everything, and it should be prosperous. But if the government's wrong, it impoverishes the people. And so I think we should not be complacent in the United States and thinking that and taking our prosperity for granted, because if
Yeah, let's look at
that's our
MicroStrategy.
policy, we can run the country into the ground, and that's just something people should bear in mind. Don't take prosperity for granted.
Well, think of education. So we're ranked at the bottom of every
Price
list.
by April, it could get up to 344. They just took off a zero. That's all they really did here, I think, right?
Switzerland, Sweden,
Old
different
all-time
countries
high
are
was
ranked.
that area. I
But
think you'll
actually
target
China's
that at least.
pretty close to the top. They're a top 6 or 7. But we're ranked at the bottom, almost at the bottom, 38, 39, 40. In other words, horrible. And yet
Trigger
we
waves
spend
and
more
such,
per
yeah.
pupil
I
than
think it
any
could
other
jump up.
country in the world. So we spend more. And what I'm going to do, one of the first acts, and this is where I need an Elon Musk. I need somebody that has a lot of strength and courage and smarts. I want to close up Department of Education, move education back to the states, where
Yeah.
where states like Iowa, where states like Idaho.
I think
you
this
know,
just
not
follows
every
Bitcoin.
state
I don't
will
think
do
it's going to
great.
pump because of
There's
stock
states
split.
that basically aren't
Not
doing good
necessarily.
now. You look at Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. He's terrible. He does a terrible job. So he's not going to do great with education. But of the
Yeah.
50, I would bet that 35 would do great, and 15
Yeah.
of them, or 20 of them, will be as good as Norway. You know, Norway is considered great. You can name them. I mean,
Coinbase.
they're so good. Some
Yeah.
of these countries.
These look a little weaker than Bitcoin, I would argue, but I think they still will probably continue forward generally.
We don't know what debt is. We have states that have low taxes.
They'll follow it
no
most
debt,
likely.
Everybody working. You know, they're really
This could get up
well
to
Sure.
run. And they can have certain advantages
double
in
for
certain
maybe a
locations,
3, maybe.
you know, the land or the,
From that area,
the
maybe a
sun,
yeah,
the
you could
sun
be
and the
looking
water
at that
and all,
600
there are
maybe.
a lot of advantages to some people, but
I'm using
if
Market
you
Cipher.
move education back to the 50, you'll have some that won't do well, but they'll actually be forced to do better because it'll be a pretty bad situation. But,
Yeah,
but if you think
well,
about it,
yeah.
you'll have some
Yeah,
of
yeah.
these states. I'll bet you'd have 30, 35 states. It'll be much better. And you know what it'll cost? Less than half
Yeah.
what it is in Washington. And
Yeah.
these people don't care
Well,
about
yeah.
the students in these, faraway states. And it would be,
Well,
it'd be unbelievable.
Yeah, I think you're making a good point in that. If,
Oh my God, it's all over.
The states have
Trump
to,
won.
if each state has to compete against other states, then people will naturally.
right.
Bird
move
Apes trying to
to
fight back for
states
10
where
ETH.
it's better.
Well, like California, as we said.
Ian
it's
Apes,
a
1.6
badly run
ETH,
state.
abysmal.
I could go through.
Pizza
I got so many
Ninjas.
friends that are in those states, even if
Let's see.
they're Democrats. I hate to mention certain states, but Illinois is badly run with Pritzker. He's
Bitcoin puppets.
But
Yeah.
but some of these
Those used
places
to be
are
worth a lot
just
more, yeah.
badly run. But it's almost going to force them
Bubble
to run
pop
better.
pattern.
And they won't do it good initially, but you're not going to do worse than you're doing right now. And I would say that the cost, you would cut your cost by
What is
50 or
her? What is
60%.
Kathy Wood again? Is that
And you have a
ARC?
little
Let's look at
monitor.
that.
You know, you want to make sure they're teaching English as an example. You know, give us a little English, right?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. No, but I mean, too much. I mean,
Is
some of these
it-
governors are like.
Yeah, it's this, right?
I mean,
Yeah, not too bueno.
Moving out of their state, they should get U-Haul salesmen.
Yeah, she.
Driving so much U-Haul.
It's actually
Some of these
amazing.
damn ETFs, man.
Isn't it
No
amazing
bueno.
to you as a businessman that they can even survive? Like Illinois, so many people are leaving, and you wonder, how do they survive?
I know she was buying
How
Tesla,
do they
right?
survive?
Maybe once Tesla pumps, that'll probably
I
come
saw
back.
where you left California.
The trigger
and
over
you
the 2
moved to
week
Texas.
though.
Texas does a great job. But, you know, I mean, I just wonder, how do these states survive
This looks good
when
on
big
Bitcoin.
businesses, a big oil company just left California, as you know, and they moved to Texas. How do these big states survive when they lose so many businesses and their taxes are already really high? You know, their taxes are among
Double
the
bottom
highest.
right there. Hopefully we jump
You,
up
you
somewhere.
almost wonder, how do they continue on? And in many cases, the governors don't do a good job in their crime-ridden places. You wonder, how do they continue to just go on? It's not a good
I think there's-
situation.
Let's see. Let's look at
I think
GME.
the only thing that's going to force some of these states to change is if they risk bankruptcy and they're not getting bailed out by the federal government.
Yeah, it just didn't have the
That's
caliber.
going to get them to change.
You remember the area?
I wouldn't count it out completely. You know, I do think with the Fed pivoting, you may have some more fun with this trigger waves and such. Unemployment rate going up, or people doing nothing but playing around with this. I wouldn't count it out completely. It's not my thing, but I could see a comeback. I could see, you know, a jump back up to 26 and then potentially 40, but I don't know.
But the problem is,
It's tough to
you
say.
can't
How about
penalize people
AMC?
that loan money to the state when you have incompetent people like a
It's like the
prisoner
Ethereum
that
of
the
meme
family didn't want
stocks.
him in the family business. And
It's like the
then he ends
Shiba.
up being governor of Illinois.
GameStop is
So,
like
you know, what,
Doge, and this is like Shiba.
Is he going to be a great governor? And you know, you have people, I can name every one of them. I got to know every
Money
one of
flow
them,
coming up.
and
I don't know.
very good
Risk
at
and shoulders. You might be able to
something.
come back up to $10. I don't know.
Well, I think that, I mean,
These
the
are.
problem is,
I mean, what is this
saying,
down from?
a lot of
It's
people are concerned about the economy,
meme
a lot of
coin
people are concerned about
peak.
inflation. And inflation is
This didn't even get
on
much.
people that
Well,
save money
Yeah.
and for people that are working day to day.
yeah, 99.4.
It's just a form of
Oh my
taxation.
God.
And,
It's still 1.8 bill.
we can
Man.
solve the government spending problem. We'll solve
What
the
if you?
inflation
What would you
problem.
make if you?
People will have a better standard of living.
80x.
That's a really big
The
deal.
people that
Ooh.
got hurt worst are the people
Wow.
that did it the way they were taught to do it.
Just imagine, like, if you could. I mean, it'd be so unlikely, but if you were to mess around with this, let's say,
People that saved money.
you'd probably
and
lose
then
a
they got
lot.
no
But
interest on their
shit.
money, and inflation destroyed them. And frankly, they were almost better off if they didn't do anything like that. I mean, those people have been absolutely decimated.
Trying to catch bottoms
And
here.
we're gonna
When was
bring those
this?
people
April?
back and help those people. We've got to get the prices down. You know,
It's
when
a
I
2 to
look at
1 like
bacon
that,
costing
and then you're trying to
4 or
hold this
5
all the
times
way.
more than it did a few years ago. When you
I don't
look at
know.
some of the food products. And
What would we
groceries
also
that
do with
people know they
GameStop
can't believe
here?
it. They used to be able to buy a whole cart, and today, you know, a lot of people just don't have the money. They go in and they can't buy anything. They look at
Yeah.
it's sticker
I
shock.
think
They call it sticker shock, right?
I think it really just comes, like I said, I think it just comes down
Yeah,
to
this is harder to
I
get a.
guess
Well, you
two
could try
things.
something like here, I
You can
guess.
solve government
I mean, you could
overspending,
even do
solve
this for
inflation, which
GameStop.
improves living
Right.
standards of the average person.
Mm,
And then
I
if
don't
you,
know.
keep
I'd probably go
it-
like
have
this,
sensible
keep it tight,
regulations.
you know,
So, because a lot of the
2 to 1 like
regulations
that, and try to ride her up.
and cause,
I don't know though. I don't know if you're gonna see the fun with
and
GameSwap.
you've got effective
80x, my
regulation.
God.
Reagan did a great
Well,
job
where
with
would
regulation
what's?
in the 80s,
I
but
mean,
it's
what's
been
80x
30
from where
years
we are right
since
now?
anyone you really, I mean, during your administration, we made some
No.
progress, but I think the
Is that what people are saying about this? They're saying it's gonna go up to.
sensible regulation, and
That would be
and if you-
Well,
if-
Elon, we-
those two things,
1800? Nah.
Yeah, those are the big
Yeah,
deals.
we set a record.
That's like
We
trillions of
set a-
dollars
we
in
did
market
more
cap.
deregulation and more restrictions on all of the different businesses than any other president. Remember, I had the rule for every one we put in, you have to get rid of at 10 or 12. And we did
Yeah.
radical cuts on all of that, and a lot of that's being put back by this administration. And we did radical cuts on things that weren't necessary. But we were all set. You know, we had the best economy ever maybe in the world, and then what happened is COVID came in, and we had to focus on that, and nobody knew what it was. And I always say I got good marks on economy, good marks on military. We knocked out ISIS. We did so many different things. We rebuilt. But, you know, I never got
Yeah, everything looks good in the
credit
short
that
term.
we really deserved on what we did with COVID. We never got the credit. But had that not happened, a gift from China, from Wuhan, came in from Wuhan, the Wuhan labs, and I always said it, and it turned out to be right. But had that not happened, we were set to start reducing debt. We were going to reduce taxes further. I gave the largest tax cuts, and we were going to reduce taxes still further for middle-income people, not only businesses. But we did it for businesses because they're the ones that's why we had the great job numbers.
Never heard
we
of
were
this.
set to really start reducing debt. And,
Oh my God.
We're sitting on the biggest pile of
yeah,
liquid gold anywhere in the world, bigger than Saudi Arabia, bigger than Russia.
6400x, am I looking at this
we were
right?
going to make so much
Yeah.
money. We were going to supply
700x.
Europe with oil. I had stopped the Russian pipeline.
I think it's done, man,
We were gonna supply them
unfortunately,
with oil
but I
and
could be
gas.
wrong.
We were gonna-
I think it's
we were
probably
gonna
done.
Make a fortune, and then the COVID came in, and we really had to divert. Then what happened is when they came in, you know, we kept a lot of businesses alive. If I didn't do what we did, we would have had a 1929 type depression. But the problem is when Biden came in, he got trillions of dollars and just started spending it stupidly. You didn't need it anymore. You know, we got over that bad period where everybody was dying and feeling, you know, it was just not a good period. Interestingly, you know, during his administration, many more people died during his administration
Yeah,
of
I don't
COVID
know about this,
than
but
during my administration, and we really got the brunt of it.
Tron is one that's
People
probably
don't
not
realize
talked about
more
as much
people
as it
died
should
during
be.
his administration.
Um,
But it diverted
concerning
us
a little bit on
from
the 2
doing
week,
what
but
I
I
wanted
don't
to
know.
do. But we had the greatest for, you know, almost 3 years. We had the great, and you know that probably better than anybody.
FIN.
So many of your friends said to me, the best years we've ever had in business
Oh.
were during the Trump years. And also
It
said
could
that
jump here. I don't know anything about this, though. It
African-American,
could jump potentially.
Hispanic
I don't know that.
American were so incredible. They were having the best Asian American women, men, young people without a diploma, young people that graduated from the best colleges, from MIT, from the Wharton School, from all of the great colleges, Harvard. They were doing better, and people without a diploma were doing better, and everybody was happy. And then COVID came, and we had the problem is they spent trillions and trillions of dollars. They wasted. They shouldn't have taken any money, and we wouldn't be having inflation right now, which is killing our country.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I mean, I should probably say something about, like, you know, maybe my views on, you know, climate change and oil and gas, because I think it probably
It's a big spot on that VRA.
people would assume, because my views are actually pretty, I think, moderate in this regard, which is that I
have no idea what'll happen here,
vilify
but
the oil and gas
could jump.
industry and the people that have worked very hard in those industries to provide.
I think this one rug pulled, but yeah, never mind.
And if we were to stop using oil and gas right now, we would all be starving, and the economy would collapse. So it's, you know, I don't think it's right to sort of vilify the oil and gas industry, and I, you know, the world has a certain demand for oil and gas, and it's probably better if the United States provides that than some other countries, and it would help with prosperity in the U.S. And at the same time, obviously, my view is like, we do over time want to move to a sustainable energy economy, because
it's been over an hour. It's gonna just go on and on. I think I'm gonna head out. I'm a little tired. It's gonna be 10 p.m. But to wrap it up, guys. No, by the way, guys, if you want to join the Discord where I give all of these trade setups in advance, link in description below. If you want one free month in the Discord, if you sign up to any links down below, BloFin, FAIRDESK, or Bybit down below, deposit at least $100 and open a support ticket with your UID. I'll give you one free month in the Discord. So yeah, really appreciate you guys. A lot of good stuff in there. A lot of stuff people have really liked. You guys gotta ask me questions in there too. I try my best to answer all of them. I mean, so yeah, and yeah, I'm probably making you dizzy clicking on too much stuff. Apologies. But yeah, no, I think you got a good shot of continuing forward here. Could be wrong. You know, anything's possible, obviously, but I'm looking at 64. Ethereum 2800 is a big area. I kind of feel like you may just pump through it, but you got some of that shit right there.
farm anymore. And
So
have to
we'll
get
see.
rid of their cattle and
Anyway,
the
really
whole world
appreciate you
is
guys.
really-
So yeah, I'll see you guys
Long
in the
protected
Discord.
and fleet.
Would do a live
I
chat with you guys
just
in the
say
Discord.
that
I'm a
I've
little
heard
tired though.
in terms
We'll
of
try to get
fossil
that done
fuel,
maybe tomorrow
because
or
even
something. But yeah, really appreciate you guys. Subscribe, like the video. Always appreciate all that good stuff. Like and soul right now. So yeah.